the story of a prolific Bahamian who stands as an example of the Bahamian dream coming alive.
Neil is the only fella I see cry to go to church.
He showed me love. He showed me respect.
How the seemingly ordinary boy from a small island nation could rise from his disadvantaged childhood to become a renowned leader.
I've used Bishop Ellis as an inspirator.
Bishop Ellis was like an anchor.
He was able to rise above the political divisions.
In Neil Ellis, I see Christ.
Thank you, Bishop Neil C. Ellis, for being you.
Under the distinguished patronage of Mrs. Anne Marie Davis, spouse of the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, Mount Tabor Church presents a red carpet premiere, a documentary journey of the life of Bishop Neil C. Ellis at Fusion Superplex, Thursday, November 17th at 7 p.m. Tickets are $20, $50, and VIP IMAX Theater $100. Tickets available at Mount Tabor Church. See you there.
Good evening and welcome to our live coverage of this very special event to honor a very special gentleman. He's bishop to some, friend to others, and certainly mentor, and whatever it is, Bishop Neil C. Ellis has filled that role over the last 35 plus years. We are live here at the IMAX Theater, where people are streaming in here at this theater to watch a movie for such a time as this, the Neil C. Ellis story. You all know the story very well. You've heard it over and over again. A young man from very humble beginnings, Bimini, one of the smallest islands in the Bahamas, come to Nassau, educated, and has moved on to impact millions around the world. He continues to do that to this day with a ministry that spans the globe through the international arm of 𝐂𝐑𝐄𝐓 and, of course, the Bahamas arm of 𝐂𝐑𝐄. Bishop Neil C. Ellis is a gentleman who has influenced governments, is a mentor to leaders here in this country, around the region, and around the world, both spiritual and political, and he continues to play those roles. Well, this evening is set aside just for him. And we have come here just to say we recognize all of the work that you've done, that you continue to do, that you do for individuals and as a country, and we are very, very grateful. Bishop Ellis, of course, and his wife, who has stood by his side and has been his mentor, his strength, the wind beneath his wings, Lady Patrice Ellis, are expected any moment now. But this evening, very special evening, this wonderful documentary that's been produced in honor of Bishop Ellis, of course, will begin at 7 p.m., but it's to honor a life that is so amazing and up to this point, well-lived, very impactful. And that is because if you don't know by now, you've been hiding under a rock somewhere, because Bishop Ellis has announced that he is wrapping up his ministerial duties in the gospel this year in December. And of course, we are all excited to celebrate that and to celebrate what he's come to mean for the church and outside the church. And so this evening we are here to see this movie for such a time of this, here at the IMAX Theater, really a wonderful venue to hold such an event. This evening we are expecting a number of dignitaries to join Bishop Ellis and the family of Mount Tabor Church for this wonderful, wonderful occasion. I can tell you, of course, the patronage of this evening's event is Anne Marie Davis, the spouse of Prime Minister Davis. She's expected to come. A number of government officials as well, ministers and friends of Bishop Ellis, persons that he would have touched personally, persons that often seek him out to seek his advice, his direction, his input in what they should do, how they should pursue, and how they should go on and get direction for what it is that they seek. And we are super happy this evening to be able to be here and invite you along on our special broadcast being seen at the Mount Tabor Church Facebook page and, of course, other social media streams. We welcome all of you. Do share the live stream, comment, let us hear of your special, wonderful moments and wonderful recollections of how Bishop Neil C. Ellis has impacted your life as he has done so many others around the globe over the last 35 years. People are streaming in. You can see right here, there's a red carpet. I'm standing on a portion of it. So there's a red carpet that starts from the entrance of this IMAX theater under the hangway. There's music outside. This is just a wonderful occasion. There's music outside. And here behind me, you see this wonderful display of Bishop Ellis and his wife, Lady Patrice Ellis, here, that where people can come take pictures and just have a good time. And so I am here standing in the middle. I decided that I would just kind of be the first person here. I'm going to go and speak with some people who are here to just help celebrate before we welcome Bishop Ellis and before we welcome the wife of the Prime Minister and many other dignitaries. Certainly, of course, to get the other people, family of Mount Tabor, other churches that have been impacted, about why they're here this evening, how special this is for them, and how they're looking forward to watching this great movie produced here locally, shot locally, narrated by local celebrities and other media officials, the movie again for such a time as this. Now, I'd love to just bring some people. If you all would love to join me, I would certainly like to hear from you all. Anybody can just come here and join me. I'd like to hear from some people about how they have been impacted by Bishop Ellis. Here's the red carpet, and here's how it all flows. Don't run. Just come here and take your pictures. I will move on the side for you, but of course we are going to be interviewing a number of people to get their thoughts and share their views with Bishop Ellis. So you're asking me to go on the side, huh? Oh, okay, yeah. So just come and speak to me. We are streaming live on various platforms, and we welcome our audience. Again, I want you to participate. I want you to go in the comment section, wherever you're streaming from and watching, and let us hear how Bishop Ellis has impacted your life, how his sermons have impacted your life and changed your life. I can tell you for me, don't go, because you look sexy. This is what's happening here this evening. I tell you, I had to rush from work and go and put something special on because I know the ladies were going to show out that as they are. And so just a moment. Good evening to both of you.
Thank you so much.
Gordon Major.
Yes, absolutely. Good evening, you all. You both hold on right there. And I just want you to go. You are a part of this evening, and that's why we decided to come live to you. So go in the comment section, talk about Bishop Ellis, whatever it is, fond memories that you can recall, how he's impacted your lives, his sermons have impacted your lives, how every Sunday you look forward to hearing from him and what God says through him, and also how you have gone on to just make better decisions and have a wonderful career and advice and just any area of your life of how these sermons from Bishop Ellis over the last 35 years have made a difference for you. So let's talk to some people who are here. We are here with Gordon Major and his wife, Patrice Major. And so good to see you both. I'll tell you, you look quite lovely, Patrice.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. But you look handsome as well, sir. Yes, absolutely. You know the lady, and then we'll come. But listen, this is such an amazing evening, a movie, a documentary for such a time as this, the Neil C. Ellis story that has been produced locally, narrated locally, of course, all the information corrected locally. If you can, Patrice, talk about maybe a moment that you feel Bishop Ellis has stood out for you.
Well, I'm not a member of the Mount Tabor.
Oh, we know some friends are here as well. Yes.
But I do listen to him Sunday mornings while I'm getting dressed for my service. And I love the way he impacts us as a Bahamian nation. So I've been following him for a few years, visited his church once, but I just love that he is one of us, one from especially Bimini. I love that place, and a true man of God.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And see, and you know, this is what I've been telling you all. There are people who are members of Mount Tabor. Of course, you know, Mount Tabor is the church that Bishop Ellis has pastored for over 35 years, and it's been really amazing. But it's people like Patrice Major here who are friends of the ministry and also are impacted by it. And so, Patrice, the reason you decided to, obviously, you had to be here this evening, what is that reason?
Just to support him, and for the amount of years he'd been bringing the word of God to us as a Bahamian nation.
Yes. Now, the name Gordon Major is quite popular here in the country. Thank you, Patrice. Quite popular here in the country. You've done a lot. You do a lot. You're in public service, etc. in the country. How has Bishop Ellis impacted you and even perhaps inspired you to do more?
Well, as my wife has said, I'm not a member of the church, but everybody in the Bahamas knows Bishop Neil Ellis and the work that he has done and the ministry that he has served in this country. So everybody has been impacted in some way or the other. Recently, I saw him at retirement for a friend of mine from housing, and he was just excellent in the way he brought all the things that she has done to the forefront, and many things that we who worked in the ministry didn't know that she had been involved with. So
he is very unique that way. I am talking, his memory it goes to years, and as you say, things that you would have forgotten. Here it is that Bishop Ellis will come and he will say, just a really sharp, keen person. Personally, how has he impacted your life?
Well, I'll say he has set an example in terms of how to live your life, in terms of your worship, your work, and your service. And, you know, it's really impressive to see the way he has conducted himself over the many, many years that you could not help but be impressed.
I absolutely agree. And so you both enjoy the movie, get some popcorn, and absolutely, yes, thank you. Yes, yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, Patrice and Gordon Major here, friends of Mount Tabor, friends of Bishop Ellis. And really, this is what you're going to see here this evening, packed in these theaters, here to see the movie for such a time as this, the Neil C. Ellis story. It's a very inspiring story. It's a unique story. It's a story that will cause you to want to think more, dream bigger, work harder, aspire to more than you ever thought possible, because that truly is the Neil C. Ellis story. Someone who came from extremely humble beginnings, obviously with favor and hard work. He got into places that only the grace of God could have taken him, and then went on to launch what is still, or arguably, one of the largest ministries here in the entire Bahamas. And so Bishop Neil C. Ellis certainly, of course, hello, Bishop Neil C. Ellis certainly, of course, continues to make an impact. He serves really now as sort of a senior person in the ministry, in the Church of the Bahamas and around the world, just inspiring younger ministers coming up, younger churches, on how they should make decisions, how they should move forward, how they should conduct ministry. I want you to see, of course, the people that are coming in and streaming in. They're continuing to come in. These are, again, members of Mount Tabor, friends of Mount Tabor. Mount Tabor, of course, has several international churches attached to it. In fact, I think that number is well over 100. Here in the Bahamas, it's roughly 100 under the 𝐂𝐀𝐑𝐏 umbrella. And these people are coming in again to tell their stories, to have fun, to look very cute. And so let's see if we can pull somebody else in. Lady with the wonderful jumpsuit. The lady with the jumpsuit. The lady with the jumpsuit and the others. Yes, come here, please. Let's show this off. All of you all come. And also you come as well. You come as well. And so, I want to let you all see the fashions. You know, I thought I was going to be the one outstanding here. But certainly, of course, I want you all to come. I want to speak with you. And you both come as well. And good evening to both of you. Come, ma'am, if this is your husband, please do come beside him. I love your purple. You both look lovely. Well, you look lovely and you look handsome. Turn around to the camera right there and just say hello to everybody who is streaming with us. Hi. So listen, please do tell us. Tell us about your experience with Bishop Ellis.
Wonderful.
How so?
I met his wife this evening and she offered me a ride home.
Oh, really? And that's how the relationship began?
Yes, before that, I knew both of them a long time.
Yeah. And so that is good to see as well, because people who are so accomplished and so highly regarded, to see that they can be just like everyday people, and as you said, see you there needing a ride to get home, and she offered you a ride. Sir, good evening to you. How are you?
Fine, and so?
I am excellent, thank you. Let's hear about maybe a nice story that you have regarding Bishop Neil C. Ellis or his wife.
Well, I usually listen to him on the broadcast. It's very interesting. His speech, his sermons, very good. Yeah.
So you listen to him every Sunday?
Pardon me?
You listen to him every Sunday?
Not every Sunday, when I'm off from work. Yeah.
Wonderful. Of course, this couple here, like many others, there are groups of friends that are together coming. There are couples that are coming, and they all are coming here again to see the story for such a time as this. I love that title, by the way. It really says so much. Thank you both very much. Go and enjoy the movie, and you're going to have a wonderful time. We're going to speak with some others who are coming as well, so I can hear them. And it's all about celebrating one man here this evening, and that man is Bishop Neil C. Ellis. Bishop Ellis, of course, has been accompanied by his wife, Patrice Ellis, all these years. She's been doing ministry at his side, and he has often said he doesn't make it any secret how lucky he is to have her, and is really happy that he could have done ministry with her. Of course, people are walking by, and that's okay. You walk and walk. This is what happened when we're live, right? Hello. How are you? Hi, everyone. Hi. Welcome to this wonderful experience. Again, for such a time as this, you can come to the IMAX Theater and watch this movie yourself for a limited time. But this evening, there are so many people that are streaming in, as you can see, to get into this showing at 7 o'clock this evening. And so we're talking to a few of them to hear exactly how Bishop Ellis has impacted, influenced, and caused your life to be better. Good evening to you, and it's wonderful seeing you.
Good, always to see you, Shanique. And again, I'm so excited to be here. I mean, look at how this place has been transformed. And again, that word is just so synonymous with what Bishop has done in the lives of so many people. And me and my family, we are certainly some of those persons who he's impacted greatly. When I think about our personal lives in terms of family structure and the way things are functioning in our families, but even more so in our professional lives. Where I am today in my career has all been a part of the ministry, the teaching, the support, and of course the encouragement that I would have gotten from Bishop Ellis over these many years. And so it's like 25 years that we've been in the ministry, and I can say what a wonderful time and a journey that has been with us being there, growing from strength to strength, and indeed from glory to glory.
Yeah, this lady beside me, her name is 𝐂𝐑𝐏𝐄𝐓, Seymour, and she is a member of Mount Tabor. But just what she said, it is so important because I can share the same testimony of having been impacted, having my life changed and inspired with every sermon, whether it's spiritually to go further, where it's professionally to go further and do more. And so I certainly can attest to what she's saying. If you were able to identify perhaps one thing or one area in which Bishop Ellis really impacted your life, what would that be?
It would certainly be in my work ethics, right? So I would have worked with Mount Tabor for a number of years prior to going into my current profession as an educator. And so that level of excellence, right? That get there and do it and be result-oriented has certainly been part of who I am in terms of ministry, but also in terms of my professional career. They know me as the woman who get it done, who get the job done, and not only get it done, but get it done with a level of excellence. And that is one of the things I attribute to being here at Mount Tabor.
I agree with you. Now, when it comes to this movie, for such a time as this, what are you most looking forward to?
Of course, I want to see more of the childhood days, right? Hearing from those friends and those people who would have known him. I mean, Bishop is a man who tells lots of stories. And so I'm looking forward to hearing the stories from different persons' perspective, because I know that there's going to be some humor in it. He does have a funny bone. And so I want to hear those stories again that help make the man who he truly is today, and the one that so many people, both locally and globally, have come to love. And so those childhood stories I'm looking forward to hearing.
Absolutely. Thank you for speaking with us here. Do enjoy the movie. You look amazing. Absolutely. He also taught us that, to show up looking right. Yes, absolutely. Listen, thank you so much. You are tuned in, come in to this couple. I would love to speak with you both. You are tuned in to live coverage of the official premiere of the Neil C. Ellis story for such a time as this. We are live from the IMAX Theater, where there are tons and tons of people streaming in. They're streaming in groups. They're coming in couples like this couple here, in families, and of course, just a lot of girlfriends deciding to, you know what better thing to do on a Thursday evening than be here at the IMAX Theater. And so we are going to speak with this couple here to hear their experience with Bishop Neil C. Ellis. And so good evening to both of you.
Good evening.
Thank you very much, sir.
Good evening.
Yes. Absolutely. Many people are recalling their memories of Bishop Ellis, and it's not memories like he has gone somewhere, but certainly I guess I would say more their influence and how he's influenced their lives and impacted their lives. Share a special moment that comes to mind with us.
Well, I think about 25 years ago, I had a bill, about $1,200, and Bishop Ellis, he said, I think I must have only had about 70 cents in my hand, and the Lord said, go and put that inside the offering, and I went there and I dropped it. Bishop said, wait a minute, come here, young lady. He called me back, and I was scared. I thought I did something, and I said, okay. You know, I came there, and he said, hold up. He said, the Lord told me to be a blessing to you. He said, Patrice, where you at? Bring my checkbook. And he wrote me a check for $900 on the spot. And some of the other members in the congregation, they sowed into my life. Now, this is about 20-some years ago. And I was so overcome, I just started to cry. And I went to Scotiabank. I went home to my husband, Pastor McFall, and I said, listen, I was just blessed. And you know, the picture, they took the picture and it was all in the papers and what's not. And I was crying. But I was so happy that I went to Scotiabank and I said, here's your money. And you know, I always give God thanks for that. And then every now and again, rather than going to the former church that I was at, I would stop into Mount Tabor. But this year, we've decided this is the place for us. God is directing our steps and our stops. And from this year, we stopped at right to Mount Tabor.
Listen, there you have it. This church continues to grow, even though Bishop Ellis started it over 35 years ago. It continues to grow, and it continues to have stories just like this, where people are continuing to be impacted and have their lives change for the better. A memory that you have of Bishop Ellis.
Yes, again, Elder Nelson and Martha McFall. And we've been part of this ministry now for 7 months. And I really want to see what caused the anointing that flowed, what caused this man of God to be a blessing to this nation. And we've been here for 7 months, like I said, and there's an anointing upon him, all right? And I believe in the ministry of impartation. And so sometimes God directs us for the impartation. And so I want to say thank God for this man of God, and I want to see what causes him to be a man of God.
Listen, McFalls, I agree with you both. I thank you for stopping and sharing your wonderful memories with us. Enjoy the movie, have fun, and of course, see you at the mountaintop, eh? Yes, absolutely. And so wait a minute, you all. As we were speaking with the McFalls, guest who walked in, the man of the hour, accompanied by his wife, Bishop Neil C. Ellis and Lady Patrice Ellis. They are here. They've walked the carpet, now taking some pictures here. And of course, we will allow them to do that. But here's this couple who has inspired so many. And they have not just done that in ministry. They have done that also in marriage. They have been really a wonderful example of what marriage looks like, what marriage should be like. And I have admired it for all these years. Bishop, good evening to you. Sir, we all honor you. We are live on various streaming networks, and we are just very happy to be here to celebrate this wonderful moment with you, sir. It's historic, it's wonderful, it's a great movie that so many are looking forward to. How are you feeling this evening?
I'm as fit as a fiddle, and I'm ready to solve a riddle.
Didn't she tell you he has a sense of humor? He absolutely does. Your story, sir, is one of faith, hard work, dedication. It's one that says all things are possible. When you thought of coming from Bimini to New Providence and all that has happened as a result, what is the one word that comes to mind?
Faithfulness. It's really the faithfulness of God, Shanique, because most of what I've enjoyed in the last 35 years, particularly in ministry, but for my lifetime, I really don't deserve. I'm from Paulgie Bay. I was counted out. Matter of fact, I wasn't even supposed to be born because the doctors advised my mother to abort the pregnancy. But when I look back over my life, these 62 years, and see all that God has done with me, for me, through me, in blessing the lives of so many others. I am just so grateful, so humbled by all of this. Look at me, I'm at the Fusion Theater tonight. I'm not here to watch a movie. I'm here to just kind of take a look at a documentary of what people say my life has been. I've not seen it yet, so I'm looking forward to seeing it tonight.
You, like many others here, are looking forward to seeing it this evening. How do you feel, Bishop, when you hear so many people, whether it's personally, whether it's on this broadcast, whether it's around the world in whichever country, that people stop you and say, you have had such an impact on my life because of you, because of the sermons. I've done this, I've done that, I've become this or that. How does that make you feel?
Well, let me give you an example. I'm just coming back into the country. I was out for 6 days. Covered 3 states in America. While I was in Washington, D.C. On Saturday afternoon, just walking down the street headed to dinner, I was stopped by a lady who said, "You are Bishop Ellis," and she went on to say how my ministry has impacted her life. On Tuesday night, I was in Atlanta, Georgia for the red carpet premiere showing of season 3 of The Chosen. And 2 people walked up to me and said, "Oh my goodness, this is Bishop Ellis. Let me tell you how you save our marriage." It is things like those that really have kept me going over the years. And now we've come to the end of a milestone. You know, like many others, in 2012, the Lord told me, give 10 more years. And here we are 10 years later, simply trying to walk in obedience to God's word and God's will.
Bishop, this one last question, because I know you have to get to your seat, and I would like to speak with Lady Ellis. So, speaking of, Bishop, you want to perhaps tell us what's next? Where is Neil C. Ellis headed after this?
I hear a lot of people telling me where I'm going and what I'm doing. But my wife and I decided last year that we'll not put any focus on 2023. We are determined to end 2022 strong. I want to make sure we leave behind a strong ministry, a well-documented ministry, people who are fledgling in their lives personally, financially, in their careers, and of course spiritually. And then I want to make sure my successor is where he needs to be to pick up the baton and take it to the next leg of the journey. So exactly what I'm going to do come January 11th, I'm not sure yet. But I tell you what, I wouldn't be idle. But we want to focus in on the rest of this period at Mount Tabor. Got another 7 weeks to go. And then afterwards, we're going to take a little break for 2-3 weeks. And then we'll make a decision as to what we see God saying for the next leg of the journey.
Well, I can tell you all this. Certainly, of course, the Bahamas is watching and the world is watching. But one thing we all can agree on, we certainly don't want to see you, Bishop Ellis, disappear and, like you say, go and figure you're going to just watch the sunset somewhere.
Oh no, that's way out of the equation. That's not even an option. I am a preacher, first and foremost. I'm a man of God, and I've been called to ministry. But ministry is more than just the pulpit. Ministry is more than just the pastorate. I believe I've given to Mount Tabor all that I had to give. If you ask whether or not I'm really ready to leave Mount Tabor, never. I don't think I'll ever be ready, but you have to understand timing. You know, this is my baby. These people who are members of the church like yourself, y'all are my sons and daughters that I've loved and nurtured and cared for. I'll never be ready to leave my children. But, you know, even in the natural, children have to get married and go on their own and do their thing. And so at some point, we've got to move on and let the next generation take it from there. And I'm excited about 𝐂𝐀𝐑𝐏𝐿's leadership. I just think he is the choice that God has made for us at this time, and his ministry and all that that is in front of him excite me.
Absolutely, Bishop. We're excited. We know that you have put your blessing on it. We support you, and we obviously looking forward to what 𝐂𝐑𝐄𝐓 will do as well. I want you to stay here as I invite Lady Ellis, who is busy. Everybody wants a picture with her. Can you see? Listen, I would like her, though. I would like her. Well, okay, would you all want to come real quick? Lady Ellis, I just want a question or two. Just one question, and you can go back. You can go back to taking pictures. Somebody else come real quick. Estelle with the hairstyle. Yeah, come real quick. Let's just talk about Bishop Ellis's ministry and impact on your life. Yeah, I know you weren't expecting it, and I know that the camera is right there. Estelle, talk about Bishop Ellis's impact on your life, your career, just anything that stands out for you right now as far as he's concerned.
The way he has impacted me, trust me, I have so many ways, but I am going to stick to him being a confidant. He worries about the way your family looks at you. He was there for me when nobody else was, and I thank God for that, and that is a moment, that is a day that I will never forget. And so I've never even said it publicly before, but Bishop Ellis, you have truly impacted my life, and I just want to say thank you, and I respect you, and I love you, and I always will, regardless. Even though I've been getting some rebukes from you, they strengthen me, and they cause me to be a stronger person, a very strong person.
He chastises those he loves. I'll tell you this, Bishop. Estelle is excited about the new sermon series. She talks about how they are impacting her life. I know we are so twinning. We are so absolutely. Let me tell you about the wife of Bishop Ellis, Lady Patrice Ellis, who has been faithful by his side for over 35 years, helped him birth this ministry, bought into the vision, and continues to buy into the vision of Bishop Neil C. Ellis. First of all, you have been such an example of what it is a wife should do with her husband, support her husband, buy into that vision, and really just help push that vision out. What is it that keeps you standing beside your husband all these years?
I think the friendship. The very strong friendship that exists, which serves as a very strong foundation for the marriage. And I think that is the main ingredient. There is love, but there's this amazing friendship. So oftentimes when the wife side of you, husband side of you, pastor wife side of you, perhaps might get weary in well-doing, the friendship side of you says, girl, you can't do that.
You know, people credit Bishop for his sermons and the rest of it, but you've been just as powerful and impacting the lives of persons in Mount Tabor, persons in this country and outside the country with the wider arm of the ministry. What is it that you now want them to understand? The fact that Patrice Ellis is also hears from God, imparts knowledge, imparts wisdom, and is just as powerful.
I think what's important is that I'm an individual. Outside of Bishop Ellis, I'm an individual. However, I understand his call, and therefore I facilitate and do whatever it is that's necessary to facilitate what he has to do in terms of ministry. Now, I think what a lot of people don't understand is what it takes to produce what they experience on Sundays. It's literally every waking moment of the day outside of having a meal, and playing domino, of course, on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturday afternoons. But it's literally every waking moment, and I feel that my responsibility has become to provide the environment that's conducive for him to achieve that purpose. It's the kingdom that will suffer if I do not do what I do. Ultimately, Bishop Ellis's sermons are amazing. I, too, am blessed by those on a weekly basis. As a matter of fact, when I walk into the sanctuary on a Sunday, I go with a member's mentality, a member's mindset, not the mindset of the pastor's wife. Reason being, I need a word from the Lord too. I need a strong word from the Lord. So my facilitating and doing what I do on a weekly basis not only does Mount Tabor Church benefit, the kingdom benefits. And at the end of the day, ultimately, I want the Lord to be pleased with my work and my service to him via the ministry of Bishop Neil Ellis.
I want to tell you, Lady Ellis, the influence you have been to women of Mount Tabor and this country and beyond, the way to carry ourselves, the way to show up in style, but yet obviously properly adorned, and the way to love our husbands, the way to honor our husbands. You have been just as powerful as your husband throughout all these years, and we want to thank you. And again, as I told him, we don't want to see you disappear either. We want to see you.
I won't. I'll be around. Anybody that needs me, I'll be here. Just call me. I'll be there.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. This is the lady besides the man, the wind under his wings, certainly his confidant, his advisor, his prayer partner, a woman who has led and inspired so many other women who are wives and businesswomen and all of it to step up themselves and just to be our best selves and do it with grace and elegance. I thank you once again. Absolutely. I'll tell you about Bishop Ellis. As I said earlier, Bishop Ellis has influenced so many people to step out of their comfort zone, to realize their dreams, to obviously go and fulfill their dreams. You see Lady Ellis right now and Bishop are taking pictures. That right there is a member of parliament here in the Bahamas, as well as a cabinet minister here in the Bahamas, the Minister of Public Service, 𝐂𝐀𝐑𝐏. And so you all come in on the red carpet, take your pictures. We don't want to stop you, but I would Minister 𝐂𝐀𝐑𝐏, listen, first of all, good evening to you. Bishop has obviously impacted you. I know that you have entered politics. You're doing exceptionally well. People say you are one of those ministers who are really, you step out right to begin with, and you have continued doing that. Talk about Bishop Ellis's influence on you pursuing this new endeavor, and then obviously doing it the way you are.
Thank you, Shanique. So, of course, Bishop had 100% influence in me doing what I do as a politician. I still have to realize that that's what I am. Coming up through Mount Tabor and sitting at Bishop's feet, automatically he produces leaders. He pulls out of people what they don't know that they have within themselves. I've always had a heart for service and hospitality, so I've taken that service now to the people. And of course, I couldn't do it without Bishop's prompting, without Bishop's advice, but without Bishop's confidence, and more importantly, without his teachings that have definitely pulled out all of the purpose that resides within me.
As a minister who is super busy with so much going on, what do you draw on, especially where Bishop is concerned and all of the advice and his knowledge and wisdom? What do you draw on when you have to step into a boardroom and make tough decisions, or perhaps help negotiate a meeting or a contract or something with the union?
There's so much that you can draw on from Bishop, because it's not only the personal nuggets that he gives, but it's always the strong word from the pulpit. Bishop has taught us how to be still. Bishop has taught us how to rise in the face of adversity. But more importantly, Bishop has taught his members how to operate from a place of excellence, but ensuring that we touch every heart, every person, that we put personal aside and we operate from a place of kingdom love and kingdom giving. And that's what I draw from all of the little nuggets, from all of the sermons that Bishop preaches, and of course from his books. I've read them all, and every book has something different to offer and something that helps to build your character and ensure that as you move through this world and in kingdom living, that you glean what Bishop has said and you apply it to your life.
Absolutely. This is Cabinet Minister here in the Bahamas, Minister 𝐂𝐀𝐑𝐏. Of course, she serves in the Davis administration in the cabinet. She's a member of parliament. She's a politician. And as you heard us say, a woman of faith as well, a member of Mount Tabor, influenced hugely and still impacted by Bishop Ellis. Let's just talk to one of the outstanding members. You know when you have those ones who got like their name on a special seat and all that stuff and the rest of it. Good evening, how are you?
Good,
this gentleman has also been hanging with Bishop Ellis since the very start. He's one of those charter members who continues to do well and stand by Bishop Ellis as Bishop Ellis makes decisions, as Bishop Ellis decides whatever his moves are. this gentleman stands by him. Listen, I know that you love Bishop. I have watched you over the years from where I sit, and I see your admiration for him, your respect of him. What keeps you always looking to Bishop Ellis? Someone you have known, someone you are friends with, someone you even have casual relationships with. But when it comes to him being your pastor, you maintain that respect and that regard. What keeps that?
I have always had respect for Bishop. From day one, I've been with Bishop now for the last 23 years of my life. And I really get tight with the Bishop during a time in my life when I was at a very low ebb. And Bishop took me in and he talked to me and he turned my life completely around. And from that day, I have been with him and I will stand with him until the very end.
Even when Bishop, as any person who is doing very well and very successful in life, they're attacked oftentimes. Even when he's been attacked or when anybody can find, you know, as they would usually try to do, all of it falls flat, obviously. But you always stand there because you know the man, you know that his character and what he puts out there.
I know him for a very long time. And like you say, whatever they say about him, I know better because I'm with him all the time. So I will stand by Bishop, whatever happens and wherever he go, I will stand by him until the very end.
Now, I have been asking people to share a fond memory, and I don't want to like to say memory, an influence that Bishop has done over the years, through a sermon, through an act of kindness, through whatever it is. What is something that comes to mind for you?
Well, I tell you what, before I came to Mount Tabor, my wife went to Mount Tabor every Sunday morning before we went to the church where we came from. And my wife said to me one day when she came home, the bishop would like to see you. At that time, I was going through a situation, and I told my wife, I'm not going to see Bishop. But we went to Bimini, where we were attending the funeral of a relative. And Bishop said to me at that time, boy, did your wife tell you I want to see you? And because of what I was going through, and he called me a boy, I said, I'm older than this man, and this man is calling me a boy. But in spite of him calling me a boy, I decided that I will go and see him. And I went to see him on the Monday after we came from Bimini, and the rest is history. I was with him from then. Yes, ma'am.
I see yes, mother, how are you? You are one of the mothers of the church.
Yes, I am.
And you support Bishop wholeheartedly. Tell us about your experience of being a mother of the church and having Bishop Ellis as a pastor all these years.
Well, he's the best pastor in the whole world, the best bishop in the whole world. I've been to Mount Tabor now 20 plus years. And yes, I'm one of the mothers of the church. And Bishop saw in me what I didn't see in myself. When he spoke to me, spoke into my life, I think it was the beginning of this year or the ending of last year. And he said to me, he said, Mother Carolyn, he said, God ain't finished with you yet. God has work for you to do. And that came through in February of this year. I wrote a book at age 81.
This 81-year-old mother of the church just wrote her first book. What did you say?
81 years of age, and I just wrote a book.
What is the book about? Please do tell us.
Prayer and reflections, and letting God use you. And the book, I sold over 300 copies in the first 3 months, and now I am on a 400. That's because of Bishop Ellis.
Listen, tell people how they can get in touch with you.
Sorry?
Tell people how they can get in touch with you.
Oh, and through Mount Tabor. Everybody knows me in Mount Tabor, so they can get in contact with me at Mount Tabor. But my bishop, oh Lord, my God, there's no word to describe.
I agree.
I have been transformed spiritually and in every other which way. Every other which way.
Here you have it, 81 years old, and telling her story of how her life has been changed and improved and enhanced through Bishop Ellis's influence and leadership. At 81 years old, she has released her first book. If you want this book, you can always contact Mount Tabor Church. It's prayer and reflections, like a daily devotional.
Yes.
So prayer and reflections.
My personal prayers, especially during the pandemic, where God brought me from. And if he could do it for me, he could do it for anybody.
There it is.
God is faithful.
He absolutely is. I agree. I thank you very much, Mother. Thank you very much. I'm rubbing up on her so I can get that long life as well. Long, prosperous life. Gaynell Roll, if you can come to the forefront. I see you standing there in purple, Gaynell Roll. I know Bishop Ellis has impacted your life as well. Thank you very much, Mother. Thank you. Thank you very much. Once again, we are live here at the David, my cousin, how are you? We are live here at Fusion, the IMAX Theater, and we are here to celebrate one man, Bishop Neil C. Ellis, along with his wife, Lady Patrice Ellis, more than 35 years of leading, birthing Mount Tabor Church. And of course, if you have been paying attention and following wherever you are, you know Bishop Ellis has decided and said this would be his last year serving as senior pastor at Mount Tabor. I want the others who have been impacted by Bishop Ellis to make their way. How are you? Gaynell, how are you?
Man, I am so excellent. It's a sad occasion, but it's one nonetheless.
I know that you are a member of Mount Tabor. You certainly, of course, you kind of tap into Bishop for almost everything before you make a decision, before you decide that you're going to go and accept an opportunity. You touch into him first. How has he inspired your decisions?
Oh my God. That's why I said for me this is such a sad occasion, because every aspect of my life, you know, I went to my senior pastor. Whether it was me being an entrepreneur, employment, no matter what it is. And to know that he's getting ready to the mid-office, for me, it's really sad. But Bishop has truly been instrumental. I mean, Shanique, would you believe I was married twice, and both times my bishop married me? That's right, and my kids got christened, so my bishop has been so instrumental in my life, in dedicating my homes, my businesses. So every aspect of my life that I can remember, my bishop was involved.
And you know, Gaynell, please tell us, many people are recalling maybe a sermon, a personal tidbit, whatever it is that Bishop would have said that really changed their lives. Can you recall one?
Stay focused, and it's the mountaintop.
Stay focused, and it's the mountaintop. Gaynell Roll, thank you very much. One of the members of Mount Tabor, who her life has been changed, doing incredible things here in the country and continuing to serve even on a public level, and of course, influenced by Bishop Ellis. This gentleman has a story to tell about how Bishop Ellis has impacted his life, helped maybe influence some decisions, that kind of thing. This is Clint Watson, also serving the country at a public level. He serves as press secretary here in the Bahamas, for those of you watching from abroad. Certainly, of course, in this government and administration. I want to say, first of all, good evening to you. And if you can recall, just one. I know there are many. I know Bishop serves as advisor, confidant, and all of it for you. But if something that really sort of he said that caused you to say, you know what, I can dream beyond being a media personality, being a reporter, being a news anchor, and I'm going to really take this step to move forward.
Well, definitely, of course, it was Bishop who kind of shifted me from media and said, I think you can do even more by serving the country. I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, I think you ought to consider moving from media and moving into government and serving the country. And I said, Bishop, I don't know about that. This was years ago. But just as he said and as he prophesied, he mentored me into making that shift, and has been there every step of the way for every part of my journey. And so I'm very honored to him. While I'm not an official member of Mount Tabor, he's been one who's guided my pathways and has always been such a sound advisor in every decision I've made. So I couldn't help but be here to honor him tonight.
Many people, of course, know Bishop Ellis' story. You know it very well in terms of where he's come from to what he's been able to do. What inspires you about that?
Just his sheer determination to continue to do what he does and be great despite the criticism. When you look at what he's gone through and what he's had to stand and endure, and it never caused him to waver. He remained fervent, he remained consistent, and he remained focused. And we see the reward of him doing that. So it's a constant reminder to people like me who are always at the forefront of the hits and the attacks to stay focused, stay fervent, stay focusing on the prize and on the mandate, on the mission, and not be distracted by the naysayers. And he's a constant reminder that if you do that, you will see the reward of your labor.
This is Clint Watson, ladies and gentlemen. He is press secretary here in the country, in the Bahamas, of course, influenced heavily by Bishop Ellis as well. I think I was there when he got that first call, and I've seen him transform, shift, and do a whole number of things as a result of being influenced, directed, and advised by Bishop Ellis. And so it's stories like this. It's stories like this from people like Clint Watson, like many others. You heard from Cabinet Minister Pia Glover-Roll a short while ago. You heard from Gaynell Roll a short while ago. Cheryl Bazard, if you can step forward. She is an ambassador, I think, to Brussels, recently appointed, also a member of Mount Tabor, an attorney, and somebody who serves faithfully in service whenever she is in the country, faithfully leading in song and worship. And so certainly, of course, good evening to you, and it's good to have you. Listen, first of all, I imagine you were quite stunned when you had to step up and were advised to step up and lead us in song and that way, because you're always very conservative, etc. But what is it about Mount Tabor, and Bishop in particular, that caused you to step out that way and play the role that you play?
Well, I mean, first of all, you have to look at the man, the boy. You had a sleepy-eyed little boy from a sleepy little town in Bimini, from a sleepy village in the Bahamas, but he rose up to the point to become a giant. He saw more than what he saw, and that may sound silly, but it's what he saw in the spirit and what he could be. And he became a giant. He came here, and he's just exercising all the gifts that God has given him. And so he pulls out of you something that says you're more than. And I mean, I don't care where you are, what stage you are in life, it's still more than. Yeah. And you think, okay, well, I've done this, I've done that, what more do you want? And it's more than. And I think he speaks a kingdom message, because we are not, we don't want to lean too much on the Christians, but a kingdom citizen. And so when you're a kingdom citizen, you come to rule. And he has come to rule. He rules not only from a religious or a Christian perspective, he rules from a business perspective, he rules from, he advises governments in the civic area. And it's just watching someone use all of their gifts.
What has been his influence, though? Because you were recently appointed ambassador, and you are serving the country on a different level now, influenced heavily and advised by Bishop Ellis, I'm certain.
Well, it's interesting because of all of the places that I could have been posted, it's to a kingdom. And so I'm going to the Kingdom of Belgium as a kingdom citizen. I've always been an ambassador in the kingdom of Christ. And so I have been disciplined in the whole ambassadorial role even before getting one here on this earth. And so I take now all of the attributes of being a kingdom ambassador and taking that to be an ambassador for the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Congratulations, Ambassador. Thank you very much for speaking with us, and do enjoy the movie as well.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Ambassador Cheryl Bazard here, also member of Mount Tabor. I am being joined now by the Director of Communications in the Office of the Prime Minister here in the country, in case you are outside the Bahamas watching this live stream, wherever you're watching, Latrey Ramming. Latrey, I guess you had to be here as well, because Bishop Ellis is one of those people who his influence does not stay in the church, it's all over.
Yeah, no, he has a tremendous influence on the national development of our country, particularly a way of governance. I mean, I think that he's played a very integral role in successive administrations. He played as a spiritual advisor to former Prime Minister Perry Gladstone Christie, and I've been also to know him as a personal advisor to myself. It would be impossible to do my job as Director of Communications without speaking to Bishop, getting a broader understanding how to deal with responding to national issues, or my personal development, and he played a very critical role in that.
What does he advise you to do that keeps you on your toes and able to give quick responses? What has he told you, as somebody who himself does the same thing?
I think not to be distracted, to always be focused. He's a very disciplined person. I think he comes with a great formula of leadership. That's something he's always been able to bring to the table. He obviously has wisdom. We've been in places in Rome that I've never been before. And I think as a country we're grateful to have him. And I think that he'll continue to impact us.
Yes, absolutely, Latrey. And what are you looking forward to seeing in the movie?
His story, his life story, how he grew, how he developed, how he became the man Neil Ellis. I've always been interested in that. I look forward to seeing it.
This is Latrey Ramming, of course, also serving the country on a very, very public capacity and in the office of the Prime Minister. And here to share in this moment, once again, we are live here at the Fusion IMAX Theater. Thank you, Latrey. We are live here at the Fusion IMAX Theater here in New Providence, where Bishop Ellis is being honored. Bishop Ellis, of course, retires as a frontline pastor of the Mount Tabor Church later this year, officially on January 11th. This here is, of course, an evening gathered here at this movie theater to celebrate his life and look at his life story. And of course, many friends are also gathered to make it happen. One such friend is a former cabinet minister, and also she's an attorney. She herself serves in public capacities here in the country. And this is Allison Maynard Gibson. Good evening to you, and it's wonderful to see you.
Thank you very much. It's wonderful to be here. And I'm so honored to be a part of these wonderful celebrations of this wonderful man of God who is such a magnificent leader, not only in the Bahamas, where he has counseled thousands and thousands of people, including our leaders, but also a leader in the world, and has counseled also leaders all around the world. Bishop Ellis is a prophet, an amazing man of God, and makes the Bahamas shine around the world. So it's such a wonderful opportunity to be here and celebrate with others his magnificent life.
He certainly is an ambassador and continues to be an ambassador to the world for the Bahamas. When you were cabinet minister, how did you rely on him? Because so many cabinet ministers, regardless of which political party they are affiliated with, often tap into Bishop Ellis and reach out to him for advice. Give us an example of maybe one time you did such a thing?
Okay, well, I'll give you, if I could give two. I would never, in my personal capacity, my personal life, any major decision I take, including running for Parliament, would be done in consultation with Bishop Ellis. As you know, I'm an honorary member of Mount Tabor. Secondly, as Attorney General, there's a lot of things that you have to do that you can't always talk about in public, so I'm not going to give any specific example, but I will also say that Bishop Ellis proved to be a really always available and a wise counselor, and of course we all know that you'll never ever hear it again, ever. Absolutely confidential.
Yes, absolutely. What are you looking for in the movie tonight?
I certainly am. I'm very excited about it, and like I said, happy that we have an opportunity to celebrate one of our own, and that he has an opportunity to be with us as we celebrate him also.
This, of course, is a former cabinet minister and politician, attorney Allison Maynard Gibson, here to celebrate with Bishop Ellis and his wife, Lady Patrice Ellis. Shane Gibson, also a former cabinet minister. Just a quick minute, if you can just come and share with us what makes you have to be here this evening to help celebrate Bishop Ellis in this way, and also to watch this movie of his life tonight.
Well, you know, I've been following Bishop Ellis long before I actually joined Mount Tabor. And he is one of those pastors, one of those religious leaders who has made such a significant impact, not only in the Bahamas, but around the world. And luckily for me, I had an opportunity to travel with him several times. And of course, I got to see him not only locally, but internationally. And just as he's revered here in the Bahamas, he's revered even more internationally. And so when you have somebody like him bringing his pastoring life to an end, you have to be here to celebrate him. You have to be here, and so there's no other place I would have been tonight except right here celebrating with Bishop Ellis.
There are so many politicians that seek Bishop Ellis out, whether they be prime ministers, cabinet ministers, as you were, and regular members of parliament, seek him out to get advice, to get direction. What are one of those, perhaps one of the times that you had to do so, and how he stepped in with his advice that turned things around for you?
Well, it wasn't one time. There were many times. Of course, you know, I was a labor leader, a union president for several years. And as union president, we had many disputes. We had many at Batelco, at ZNS, and I remember the one that was very significant was the one at ZNS. And at that time, I think ZNS wanted to bother with Brother Vaughn Miller, who is now the Minister of Environment. And of course, Bishop Ellis took exception along with us, and he led the entire Mount Tabor Church at ZNS. And because of the support that ZNS saw Vaughn Miller had at the time, they had no choice and they put him back on the job. But there were many other times when I was union president and also as a minister in the government, I relied on him for his expertise.
The wife of the Prime Minister is here. She has just arrived. We'll talk to her in 1 second. I just want to know what inspires you most about Bishop Ellis's life story?
Well, I look at the humble beginnings he came from, and I look at how humble he is even today, because there are lots of persons who would have come from humble beginnings, and as they grow in life, you see their whole attitude change. But he has not changed at all. From just as humble as he was when he was a little boy in Bimini, he is just as humble right now, being a bishop of one of the biggest churches here in the Bahamas.
That's right. Former cabinet minister, of course, politician, member of parliament, Shane Gibson, just one of many, many, many politicians, leaders here in the country who are inspired, have been inspired, continue to be inspired by Bishop Ellis. And now, ladies and gentlemen, this evening is under the patronage of this lady who is about to come and stand next to me. She is the wife of the Prime Minister. Her official title is spouse of the Prime Minister, Mrs. Anne-Marie Davis. Do come and join me. I see Patricia there is coming next with you. That is wonderful. First of all, you look very lovely this evening. How are you?
I thank you. I'm wonderful. Excited to be here.
Oh, I know. I'll tell you one thing about our First Lady. She knows how to celebrate people and celebrate events. And so it's good to see you this evening. What made you accept the invitation to be patronage of this event in terms of celebrating someone like a Bishop Neil C. Ellis?
Well, I know part of his testimony, his past. And I think having a documentary of a great man like Neil Ellis, what he has done for so many years for this nation, for people everywhere, this is something that everyone should know about him. So when they asked me to be the patron of this event, I was delighted to do so, because I too want to know his whole story. I want to see the whole story told about him. He's a great man. I have tremendous respect for him. And the Lord has blessed us all with him, and I know he's still going to be blessed to do great things, even though he is retiring from being a pastor. I'm sure that there are great things still ahead for him. He's still young. He's not yet done.
You are someone who has come also from humble beginnings, and you've shared that story a number of times. Bishop Ellis has come from humble beginnings. What is it you want people to get, the story, the message that you want people to get from where he's come from and now what he's been able to accomplish?
That whatever your circumstance is, whether you're poor, whether you have nowhere to go, as long as you have that will and someone takes interest in you, you can achieve whatever you want to. You can be as great as you want to be. I know Neil Ellis, Bishop. I know he was adopted as a young boy. And that is such a story for everyone to follow and to understand that you can be whatever you want to be in this life, no matter your circumstance. And that is the true, real story that I want everyone to pay attention to, and what this night represents. That's why I'm happy to be here. And everyone out there, whether you're poor, whether you're hungry right now, whatever is happening to you, you can be great. Just like Dr. Neil Ellis, Bishop Neil Ellis.
Our First Lady, this is, of course, Anne-Marie Davis, spouse of the Prime Minister. She is a friend to the ministry. She uses, of course, like many others, she certainly uses Bishop Ellis as someone that she can lean and depend on, pick up the phone and call and be advised by. Thank you, First Lady. You look wonderful. It's great to see you as usual. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. I see so many people hanging out, right? I see a gentleman just walked in and he started dancing. Bishop Lawrence Roll. Patricia Clare, you have not spoken. I think you should just come in a minute. Just a minute. Just a minute, come speak. You're saying it was wrap up? Okay. Listen, Patricia, first of all, I know that you are behind this to a great deal because you've been planning a number of these sort of farewell events from Bishop Ellis prepares to retire from Mount Tabor. Tell us about this evening and how you wanted to make this evening stand out, and also let people get a good message from this evening.
Well, Shanique, you know, this has been tremendous for me. I grew up with Bishop Ellis. I'm 16, so I know him well. I have been planning this with the team, not me one, it's a whole team. But together we pulled this off. We wanted to make this spectacular. Bishop is pleased. I am pleased.
Absolutely. Patricia, you knew him from he was 16. You know his very humble beginnings. What message have you gotten to go and be a success, be an influence, be also someone who inspires women yourself as a result of being a member of Mount Tabor and having him as a friend, a personal friend?
Well, first of all, I told Bishop one of the messages that stick with me since I became a part of Mount Tabor some 26 years ago was the fact that you get delivered from people's opinion on you. That stuck with me, and I have been flowing from then. Bishop has influenced me in so many ways. I can't begin to tell you. My children love him. I grew up with him. I love him. I love Lady Ellis, and they know I just want to make sure they go out with a bomb.
She's the lady who has been making all of these events happen. In fact, I will. The pastor telling me wrap up now. I'll tell you what's been happening though. She's the lady who's been planning all of these events. On December 11th, there's another major event. Give us a sneak peek.
Oh wow! Everybody should be there. It's got to be fantastic.
Thank you that's it. That's all she's saying about that. But listen, stay tuned for December 11th. Going to be amazing. Bishop Lawrence Roll. Bishop, just 2 seconds. Bishop Lawrence Roll, how are you? Come here, please. How are you doing?
Fine.
Fine, yes. You were here to celebrate Bishop. Bishop has been instrumental in your life.
Of course.
Yes.
Why not?
How has he impacted your life and your ministry?
Oh my God, he been a father, he been a mother to my children and me.
And to you?
Yes.
You're planning on dancing tonight?
I'm dancing right now.
Well, wait a minute, hold on. Bishop Roll, thank you. I must just say, listen, I will wrap up after this, I promise. I have to say, here's a gentleman who has stepped in as a stepfather, role model, advisor, someone who has, I guess, even given, help inspired the business mind that Bishop Ellis possesses, that he brings into the church and operates the church as. This is, of course, Sir Franklin Wilson. Good evening to you, sir. Tell me about first of all, you've known him since he was a boy. Absolutely. In your house growing up. Absolutely. Tell me about how proud you are to see someone who came up and you watched them grow up and who he's become today.
What do I say? It's incredible. It's a wonderful manifestation of God's grace. What else do you say? I mean, how else does this happen? It can only be God. It can only be God.
What do you want people to get from his story? You know the story very well. He came from Bimini and all the rest of it.
The key is faithfulness to God. The bishop has been remarkably faithful to God, and it shows the validity of the message. It's faithfulness to God.
Faithfulness. This is Sir Franklin Wilson, of course, a leading businessman here in the country, stepfather to Bishop Ellis, and still very supportive of him to this day. They enjoy it. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Absolutely. I don't know if I saw just a second. Okay, wait. I'm waiting for his wife to just come and say hello to me. She has also been stepmom to Bishop Ellis, so I want her to just come in really. Okay, awesome. So here she is. In fact, guess what? Newly appointed Ambassador Sharon Wilson. So thank you so much. Good evening to you. And how do you feel watching your stepson be honored this way and knowing yourself in real time the story of his life?
This is one of many occasions where I have really beamed with pride, not only because of what is going on, but because of what it represents.
Yes.
And so, for me, it's just a wonderful occasion to see the appreciation for what I know has been the dedication, the hard work, the commitment, everything that has made him the person that he is.
As I asked your husband, of course, you took him in. You decided that this young man deserves investing in, and we're going to do that as a couple. What do you want people to take from the story, the message from his life, and coming up from Bimini throughout the Wilson household and being inspired and taking the time to pay attention and learn? What do you want people to get from his life story?
That, the reality is, if you just take a moment, there's always perhaps something that you're able to do and you just don't know how you can be blessed from what you do, because I feel that we have received so much more than we have given. And it's been such a blessing, firstly having Bishop in our home throughout his childhood, of course, being a big brother for my children, being a son for us, just being just the person that he is, and having him now as a part of us. It's just yielded so many blessings. So sometimes when you think you're reaching out to give, you're really reaching out for God to give to you.
That is just so amazing. And I thank you for saying that, because you've inspired many of us to be just as kind. You know, of course, this is Ambassador Sharon Wilson. She is ambassador to
Mexico.
A very accomplished woman, president of the Senate, of course, attorney, a whole lot of stuff. And guess what? Beyond all of that, stepmother to Bishop Neil T. Ellis. I'm very proud of her stepson. I thank you very, very much. Enjoy the movie this evening. And I want to thank all of you. I'm going to come closer to you. I want to thank all of you for watching our live stream this evening. We certainly hope you enjoyed it. This movie will be continuing at the Fusion IMAX Theater for a little bit, a limited time. You want to make your way here and watch. But I'll tell you this. I don't know if they can scan the camera around and just have a look-see. So many people are here grabbing snacks and all the rest of it, continuing to take pictures. So many people, of course, we see the deputy leader of the Free National Movement here with his wife, Shannon Dawn Cartwright, and they are here. Shannon Dawn, look here for a second. Come here real quick, Shannon Dawn. So we will wrap up after. They are going to do me in. Do you understand? The pastor of media and his entire team. But I just want to say good evening to you. And as I said to so many people, Bishop Ellis, he counsels, advises, also helps lead and direct politicians. Give us perhaps one memory that you can think of, one occasion that Bishop Ellis stepped in and assisted you with a decision or something important that you had to do.
Well, Shanique, there are so many that I can mention. But all I wish to say is that Bishop continues to be an inspiration for me and my wife. He has covered us in so many ways. As you would have mentioned, many of the national decisions that we make as public officials and as politicians, we go to Bishop Ellis to get direction and advice, regardless of our politics. And so we are both sad but very happy for him. We all must transition at some point, and we're so very happy for him and Lady Ellis.
This here is the deputy leader of the opposition Free National Movement. When you know Bishop Ellis' story, he attends Mount Tabor as well, and so when you know his story, you know of his story, his humble beginnings, what is it that you want that person out there to get from it, the message that you want them to learn and take away?
The message is that no matter where you come from, no matter your beginning, it does not indicate where the greatness that God has for you. One of the lessons that Bishop continues to instill in all of us is that it's not where you start, it's where you end up, through God's grace.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Shannon Dawn Cartwright. Of course, his wife is on to the side, but enjoy the movie, Shannon Dawn. Thank you very much. Now, I'll tell you this. Pastor Bain and the entire media team, listen to me and listen well. I will wrap up. Okay? I want to thank you all for tuning in this evening. We had a wonderful time. It continues. This party is going to go on for a minute, okay? They were supposed to be in the theaters for 7, but it's awesome. We are here to celebrate the life achievements, the spiritual advice. A man who is of God, from God, has impacted nations on behalf of God through the Holy Spirit of God. And so, of course, he deserves this celebration and this honor this evening. We want to thank you all for streaming live with us, for sharing your thoughts, for sharing the video. Do that, by the way. And I am going to say on behalf of the entire media team here at Mount Tabor Church, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a great evening, everyone.